You don't go
No.
into 2025 with no experience.
No, it's true. And you can't, because if this is the point that you're starting at, then you need to have, like we said, the money pit or a shitload of experience behind you, one or the other, or both. So a new person, a green person with not much money who's, in debt because of it is going to suffer.
Hey friends, it's Lee Safar here with some exciting news. The introduction to regenerative coffee farming workshops are now available on demand in English, Spanish and Portuguese. These workshops are designed to give you actionable insights into the future of coffee farming through regenerative agriculture. Whether you're a coffee producer, roaster, cafe owner, or just passionate about coffee sustainability. For coffee producers, the workshop is available for just $10, and for everyone else, it's $20, a small price to pay for knowledge that could transform your understanding of what it's going to take to grow coffee from now on. Led by our incredible professors Angela Barrero, Murilo Bettarello, Felipe Croce, Carlos Ordóñez, and João Araújo, the workshop is packed with practical knowledge and strategies to help coffee farmers and the entire coffee industry adapt to the challenges of climate change, rising costs, and market demands. If you're a business owner, this workshop is a great and affordable way to inform your employees about the challenges ahead while also supporting Mappa Forward. This is also a great workshop to share with or gift to your coffee producers. Head to mappaforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the description to purchase the on-demand version and start your journey towards a more sustainable coffee future today. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mappa Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is unfortunately the final episode of a 5-part series with Carol Salloum from Three Tomatoes Cafe in Sydney and Almond Bar, a series that I have been trying years to make happen, and I hope this is the first time you're not the last and the first and only time, Carol, that you come on the podcast. But this has been a really delightful conversation because I get to have people hear what I've always, this could have been any conversation you and I have had in the last 17 years. What you've done is set a standard in Sydney. What you and Carol have done with your team is set a standard in Sydney of the way that businesses can be run without a huge amount of VC funding. You did it all yourselves. You did it without a massive amount of debt. And you just build a real solid business. You're in the media all the time. You're on shows all the time, just talking, and you're always helping in the community. You've had some initiatives that have been, there's one at the moment, right, is it for the Palestinians?
Yeah, it's we did it on the weekend that it's to raise money for the Palestinians that are arriving in Sydney because the government hasn't been helping them.
Right.
So it's just to help them get set up.
Well done. And this is a constant, folks. This is stuff that they've done from the early Almond Bar days. It's a real credit. And the reason I say this is because not just because Carol's a friend of mine, but because she's a legit business owner who built this with her sister and their family and their team with their own 2 hands without secretly getting all this VC funding and lying to people. And Carol's nodding her head for anyone who's just listening. And it's really important because when people say to me, you're so negative about what's happening in the coffee industry, again, this is a success story. This is a success story of somebody who has actually done it. So it's not impossible, but it is the long game. And that's the part that people don't want to hear, right? I ask business owners this a lot. If you had known then what you know now, would you have done it?
No. That's it. Absolutely not.
The immediacy of that answer. And
because I've thought about that question myself. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. There's, I think, two factors in that. Very, very different market, very different situation globally, economically. That's one. Two, maybe because of my age. And and being less risk-taking now. I think probably those two factors would have affected that for sure.
Did you think it was going to be as hard as it was?
I knew starting out would be, of course it would be, but I didn't think that the longevity of it. I mean,
right.
I'm working more now than I ever have worked. And, you know, you get into it thinking, I'll set it up and then I'll just have days off. I'll go on holidays. I'll do this.
Yeah, good luck with that, anyone that's thinking that.
My staff get more holidays than I do.
Classic. Standard.
Yeah.
My favourite thing is when people think that they're going to get paid when they start a business. Like, hilarious, right? You're going to make less than minimum wage, folks, when you start this business. Unless, of course, as Carol was saying in a previous episode, you have a money pit that creates a really long runway for you.
That's right.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about how you're positioning the business strategically to stay successful over the next 4 years. Why are we talking about the next 4 years?
Because our lease runs out in 4 years, and we haven't been given an option to renew. So we've just got to work out what to do over the next 4 years. I'm nervous. I'm a little bit anxious about how to do it, I suppose, to get the most out of it, but also to keep it as successful, if not even more successful. So being the person that I am, I like a challenge. So I feel like I need to create something within that 4 years that is going to be a challenge for us as a business, whether it be have a different branch, another income stream that we don't currently do, opening up something on the side, not sure. But, you know, again, don't want to invest a lot of money into something just yet because we're not sure where everything's going. So I think being anxious is a good thing. As I say to my son, if you're not anxious, you should be worried. So being anxious is good because it means that I'm focused, and we are both focused. And the good thing about Sharon and I, my sister, is that she's in the kitchen and she does the food side of it so that I can focus on the business itself, the copy, the customer, the money, the numbers, all of that. So I think I just need to be more organized than I have been because I've been cruising a little bit. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. And I'm actually excited about where we could go.
And it's a completely different, like the way I hear you talk is a completely different mindset to somebody who is nervous because they think they're going to lose their business. They can see the writing on the wall. You're looking at this, and this is classic indicator of somebody who has built a values-driven business but built a solid business. They're not scared of the tidal waves that are coming. They're nervous about having to figure out the best possible outcome for it. But you have weathered so many things that you don't look at this and go, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. You say, fuck, this is going to hurt. We just got to figure out how we can do this with the most grace and how we can come out even better. Like it's a completely different mindset, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't not think like that. You never stop thinking like that.
Yeah.
You have to constantly think of, if something happens, what are the options? You know, it's the way that every business should be thinking, and they do. In every successful business thinks like that. And you've always got to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best, and not just hope, but prepare for the best as well, I suppose. Because you've got to challenge yourself to do more, to do things differently. There are things that I've done that I actually normally wouldn't like to do, but I know that the customer, that's what the market wants. And so I've had to, you know, do something because that's what the market wants. Even Sharon, there's a dish, you know, I say to Sharon, put this dish on. I hate making that dish, but that's where you're going to get money. Like the profit margin is high on that. Try it. So then she sees the difference, and so we keep it, you know.
The next time you feel like you've got imposter syndrome I want you to watch this episode of the podcast
Yeah.
and hear yourself the way that you just, like, that's strategic thinking. That's a seasoned professional. That's somebody who registers high on openness. That's a leader that turns around and can hear their co-workers and their business partners and listen to them, but also help them, bring them around to seeing a different perspective without forcing them to. You know, a shitty leader would have turned around and said, fuck you, we're doing this. This is what's going to make us money. Your sisters, so maybe you said it that way, but I doubt it.
It bashed me.
Shout out to Sharon. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
this
absolutely.
whole 17-year process is something that teaches you how to be ready for 2025.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like this is a year not to be fucked with. You don't go into 2025 with no experience.
No, it's true. And you can't, because if this is the point that you're starting at, then you need to have, like we said, the money pit or a shitload of experience behind you, one or the other, or both. You know, so a new person, a green person with not much money who's, you know, in debt because of it is going to suffer.
If we take Warren Buffett's analogy further, it's like somebody who has never swum in the ocean being hit by a little wave. You're going to be fine, right? Yeah. As long as you know how to stand solid, you'll be fine. Yeah. But the bigger that wave comes, the more you become aware of your oh fuckness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is not a year that is even a little tidal wave. Yeah. This is a year that's bringing the force of somewhat of the ocean with it and cleaning up.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
No. And it's why we're harping on it so much in 2024 and 2025. Is because we want people to understand the seriousness of this moment and to face it with that level of seriousness. Some people are going to be stubborn and stand their ground when they have no basis to do that. They're just flexing.
You can't change that. You're never going to be able to change
at
them.
At all. And then there are some that are saying, you know what, I'm going to get crushed by this wave. I'm going to run for safer ground. And they're the people who are shutting their businesses or closing their businesses or selling their businesses.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of dignity in that. Because then to admit it and to take that moment and say, you know what I'm going to do? I can admit that this is bigger than me. I can admit that it's best to do this with dignity so that my staff have time to find somewhere else to work. My suppliers have enough notice to know that I'm shutting down, and I still have enough money to pay all my invoices before I shut down.
Yeah.
But that's never how it happens.
Many people think like that. No, that doesn't happen.
What's the reality of how you see it happen when a business shuts down in Sydney?
The first thing that happens is they get locked out by the landlord, and then all the other
chaos,
the snowball effect that comes on. You know, they have to pay the tax office, then they have to. Well, the tax office always comes first in their debts, and you know, but the first thing that happens, and you see it, and that's the part that really rips at my heartstrings, is when I see a notice on a property. And it says, you know, they've been locked out.
What and so that people understand, what is the thing that causes the lead up to the lockout?
Oh, the failure to see or recognise that the business isn't working early enough. Often people think, oh no, it'll be okay. It's just this week or just this week.
It's a bad month.
You know, sometimes it's their own doing in that. They see money coming in the beginning because people see a new place opening. They go in, there's an influx of people in the first couple of months and they're like, great, this is it, you know, we're
Gold
fine.
Mine.
They spend that money and then they realize, oh, these people have just come for the one time.
The novelty.
or they're not going to be regulars, or they haven't made the effort to keep those customers, or to keep the repeat customers coming. And so there are different ways it happens, but you just see it slowly declining. The business that we bought, that's what was happening. I was a customer there.
Really?
It was a cafe before
Three
us.
Tomatoes.
Yeah. Different name, and different. Everything was different. Different coffee, different food. And I was a customer. And when they first opened, it was really, really successful because it was one of 2 cafes in the whole area. So, and they were good. And then the decline came. So they lasted 4 years. In the last year, it was really bad, to the point where I was going in as a customer
Helping
and
them.
help.
That doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah.
So usually what will happen in that case is they stop paying their suppliers and they stop paying their rent. And by that, once it's gotten to that point, they're just trying to figure out, how can I make as much revenue as I can before I get shut out of my business?
Yeah.
And I'm not paying anybody at that point, so I'm putting it all in my pocket.
Yeah. And there's also the tax office. There's the GST, there's the pay-as-you-go tax, so that, for the staff, all of that. And they get so, it's like someone with OCD who has washing piling up because it's too much. They can't deal with it. So that's what happens. They just pay nothing. They think, if I keep it with me, then it's for a rainy day. But those rainy days have come and gone.
Yep.
So.
And this is when we talk about closing with dignity, because the stink that follows you after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that in an industry like Sydney? When somebody finds out that that's what you've done, what happens?
Oh, no one wants to touch you, especially suppliers, because when you actually engage a supplier, they ask you to fill in a credit application. And on that credit application, they ask for references. So they do the check. And, not even as a person, you're not going to put those suppliers down that you didn't pay. So it's very hard. And no one wants to give you money. It's either cash on delivery.
Yeah. When we were talking about the difference between 25, like when we started in the industry and now in 2025, one fundamental thing was most people paid cash then.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And back then it was 80% cash, 20% card.
Yeah.
It's 10% cash, 90% card.
It's a shifting economy that works positively for some people and negatively for others. For those who are running shitty businesses, the cash business is what is really great for them. Yeah. Because they can hide a lot of it. This is making it very difficult in the landscape of 2025, especially after the pandemic, where people no longer wanted to accept cash. Some businesses went 100% digital. Do you think that this whole digitization of our industry, that's going to continue to get more digitized, do you think that that's having an impact in what's created the environment that is 2025?
I think so, because one of the things that have been talked about is the surcharge on the card, using the credit card. So most places will charge, as we do now, the 1.5. We were absorbing that 1.5% surcharge that the banks were charging. So we now pass it on to the customer, as every business does. So if you're using a card, then you take away that 1.5%. That let's say that $5 decreases in value for the next place. But if you're using $5 cash, that $5 will always have the same value as $5, right? But people don't understand that, because, well, they also are lazy, because no one wants to go to an ATM and pull out cash. Everyone's getting paid in the bank. And so what that does for us is we then, obviously we can't accept cash, which means you can't hide anything. I mean, if you don't have cash, you can't hide anything, or you can't pay your staff in any kind of cash at all. So you then your costs then just like go way
Skyrocket.
higher, and then again you can't reflect that in your prices. You just can't.
There's only so much the customer can absorb, and there's only so far they can go from where they're currently at.
Yes.
So as you look at the next 4 years, what do you think, like what does success look like to you as you see this 4 years coming where your landlord has been very clear. There's no option to renew your lease. You have a maximum of 4 years to go. What does success look like for you in the current iteration of Three Tomatoes?
I think if we're still at the rate, if we're still getting the same profit margin as what we're getting now, that's one form of success.
Mm-hmm.
If we've still got the same customers coming back, that's our other success. You know, for me, success is when I see when people come in and they say to me, oh, we drive past here. These are new people to the cafe. We drive past here all the time and it's always busy. And we've always wondered what's so good about it. And now we know. So for me, that's success, right? So if we're still getting all of that and we still have the relationships with the customers that we do, that's success.
Yeah, perfect. What a brilliant place to end what has been a fantastic 5-part series. Carol, I can't thank you enough. And I really hope you'll come back.
Thank you for forcing me to.
Folks, for real, you don't know how hard it has been to get me to get Carol to come on the podcast. If you're in Sydney, do yourself a favor, find Three Tomatoes and just let yourself experience what it is to be rushed at by Tony and him be very curious about you. I love you, Tony. And to feel the love that comes from the hospitality that you get there. Everything is great about this place. It's not a $2 million fit out and you won't give a fuck. I promise you. And you will understand why Three Tomatoes, which is a business that is being run very well and very responsibly, has chosen to focus on hospitality above all. And it's a very honest business and I love it. And when I say honest, I don't just mean in the way that it's run in the back end. It's honest by way of being non-pretentious. Right? And
in that when we say you, if we don't like you, you'll know. And if we like you, you'll
Fuck yeah. Like, let me tell you, just one look, watching Tony engage with customers is fantastic. You can see immediately when he sees a customer and he's like, I don't trust that guy. I hope he doesn't come back. Like, you can see it immediately. But that's because Tony's a really beautiful soul and a really kind guy who is really upfront and he can see your bullshit from a mile away. And it's fantastic. So, Carol, will you tell people how they can find Almond Bar? Look at me, wishful thinking. How they can find Three Tomatoes?
Three Tomatoes is in Ashbury. It's an inner west suburb, a little pocket between Ashfield and Canterbury. Just look it up online.
Perfect.
It's very easy.
And on social media?
On Instagram, Three Tomatoes AU, and on Facebook as well.
We will have links in the show notes. And will you finish up this series for us by signing us off, please, Carol?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for tonight. Thank you, Lee. I love you so much.
I love you too, love.
Peace, love, and peanut butter.
Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward.